Uh-oh, look out. CSG grading now has population reports. Let's talk about it. Hello to all my sports card collectors, investors, all of my collectibles friends out there in the universe. How are we doing? The Super Bowl has happened. I'm a little bit upset. I was pulling for the Bengals and Joe Burrow to kind of pull that one out. If I don't really care that much, I always go for the underdog. The Rams team in general is just completely stacked. And so I was pulling for the Burrow-led Bengals. They haven't won a title before, and it was just sad to see it all kind of unwind there at the end. But I genuinely do think that Burrow will be back. I know that, you can say the same thing about a lot of great QBs. I think about Dan Marino for the Dolphins that went in his rookie year or his second year. It's an interesting comparison to Burrow as far as where they were in their career when they went to the Super Bowl. Marino just came into the league on fire, and kind of the way that Burrow has. I mean, even before he got hurt last season, he was having a good season, and then it was overshadowed by Justin Herbert because Burrow went down. But Burrow was having a good rookie campaign before he got hurt. So I do expect Burrow to be back in the mix. I don't know if it's going to be next year. And the AFC battle for supremacy with all these young QBs that are so talented is going to be really, really fun to watch over the years. Guys, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. If you hit the like button, it does help these videos spider out into the universe, and it helps get the word out for our video and our channel. So I would very much appreciate that. We come out with almost daily sports card collectibles videos with a little bit of a finance twist. I like talking about pricing and different financial matters as they pertain to sports cards and collectibles. It's a good time. All right, CSG, and of course, this is all kind of debatable, but I view them as kind of the number 4 in the big 4 of grading companies. You've got PSA, BGS, SGC, and CSG, fairly new to the game. They are the newest company out of all these 4, but they are part of CGC, the largest comic book grader, so they do have, they've got respect in the collectibles hobby. CGC is a great grader and authenticator for the comic book space, and so the fact that they moved into Pokemon cards and graded sports cards and even graded video games. They'll be starting on graded video games here soon too. So CGC as a whole just doing some really, really cool things. And they've been grading sports cards. A lot of folks don't like the label, but what a lot of people will tell you is it's the nicest actual case out there in the market. And I completely agree. It's crystal clear, fantastic looking case. And now they've got their population report. So it's all starting to come out for CSG. I'm excited to kind of see the progress here. And thanks to gemrate.com, we've got some data that we can share about what types of cards they've been grading. What is the gem rate? So a gem rate for CSG is anything that's 9.5 or above, 9.5 or 10. From what I've heard in the marketplace, and I do agree with this because I just don't see a lot of 10s, is that almost that CSG is too tough of a grade. I've watched also reveals where people are getting cards back and they're just like, man, these are really, really tough grades. I can't get any 10s. A lot of 8s, a lot of 8.5, a lot of 9, a lot of 9.5, but struggling to get 10s. And so I don't know if that's necessarily hurting CSG, that their grading scale is a little bit too tough, but it is what it is. So if we look at the type of cards that they've been grading, not really a huge shock here. The majority of the cards that they've been grading are 2020. So it's the new stuff. It's the ultra modern stuff is what they have been grading, followed by the 2010. So you've got the percentage number of cards they've graded 2020. So ultra modern stuff, 31.9% of the total percentage is brand new stuff. 2010s and up, 30.3% of what they've graded. So that's really about almost two thirds of what they've graded. And then when you throw in the 2000s, you've got 6.4% there. So, just looking back, you've got really the vast majority is 2010 and up has been graded by CSG. One thing I think that's helped CSG too is they have such a low grading cost. And I believe it's still the same. I'd have to double check this. I've not submitted with CSG yet, but a lot of these subs went in at $8 a card. I mean, $8 or $10 a card. You're talking really, really low. So I think a lot of people were looking at this as a way to grade certain cards with PSA PSA shut down, and then also maybe just base rookie cards to where maybe you don't send that to PSA because it's too expensive, the economics don't make sense. But for $8 a card, maybe CSG makes sense for certain type of, base cards, certain players, etc. We'll get into that a little bit later. As we go down here, okay, so we've got 6.4% of their cards total graded are 2000s. And then 1990s makes up 17.9%. So they actually have graded a lot of 90s cards, CSG has. If we go down to 80s, it's 8.6%. And then as we get into vintage stuff, really not much vintage. People are not grading their vintage with CSG based on these numbers. 2.5% of their total graded are 1970s cards, 1.3% 1960s, 1.3% 1950s. If we look at the gem rate, so that's 9.5 and up, 0 in the 1950s, 0 in the 60s, 2% in the 1970s, 3.1% in the 1980s. Even in the 1990s, only 8.3% of their cards have gotten a 9.5 or above. 2000s, it's 16.7%. 34.1% in the 2010s, and then you've got a 39% for the ultra modern stuff. And I'm pretty sure when I look across the board, we've looked at this data across all all three of the other companies, PSA, BGS, and SGC, and I'm pretty sure that 39% is the lowest gem rate percentage among all those companies, showing they're tight. They're a tough grade. And like I said, I've heard that in the marketplace. And even just looking online at cards on eBay, I just don't see a lot of CSG 10s. Just don't see them near as much as seeing a PSA 10, an SGC 10, or an SGC 9.5, etc. What types of cards have they been grading? All time, you will never guess what the number one card is that CSG has graded the most of. And it is the 2021 Leaf Pro Set Trevor Lawrence number PS1. Almost 2,500 of these have been graded with a 31.2% gem rate. So that's a very new card, a very new Leaf card. 1 out of 3 roughly are getting a 9.5 or higher for that Trevor Lawrence card. I just think that's interesting though, it's like, is there one collector or one company or something that's just sending a truckload that sent a bunch of those, to CSG? Because that's just kind of a random card. If it was like 89 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card, and it'd be like, okay, that makes sense. There's a zillion of those out there. But the 2021 Leaf Pro Set Trevor Lawrence, and I think it's people just trying to get a card in a grade, turn it around and sell it. And again, at that $8 price point, probably made sense. Now, if we go down the list, you've got 1990 Fleer Michael Jordan, which I thought was kind of an interestingly random card that they've graded a lot of. 1,335 of those, with only 6.3% of those getting a 9.5 or higher. Not giving gem mints out on those very easily. And then 2020 Hoops LaMelo rookie card. And again, this is one where you've got a base rookie card. You're not going to send that probably to an SGC at $30 a card or a PSA even higher. And so it went to CSG, 1,325 went to CSG, with 32% of those getting a gem rate, a 9.5 or better. So again, about 1 out of 3. And that's a fairly new, that's a very new card release. The most graded sets of all time for CSG. Number 1 is 2021 Topps Baseball, 12,602 cards. 2020 Mosaic Football. And as you look down the line, the top 11, all 11 of their top 11 sets ever graded are from 2019 to 2021. So just a lot of ultra modern stuff was sent to CSG to fill that void, as PSA shut down, as PSA was more expensive, etc. And so that's what they got. And then the top athletes graded, no real big surprises here. This is fairly consistent across all the grading companies. Number 1, Michael Jordan. Number 2, Kobe. Number 3, LeBron James. Number 4, Tom Brady. And number 5 is Ken Griffey Jr. So no real huge surprises there, but there are some surprises. When you look at this data, it's very interesting to see what was sent, what is causing that backlog that CSG has. And then of course, now CSG is doing authentication for eBay. They have got their hands full right now. So I'm curious to see, this is a company I'm rooting for. It's one of these kind of these upstart companies, but a well-funded and well-respected company. So I want to see how this shakes out with them. I'm rooting for them. We will see how it goes. Guys, thank you very much for joining me here today. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.